Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Amy Howard, and this is Finish Friday. I know you're going to be watching it other days of the week, but this is one particular day that we set aside to be able to teach you different finishes and processes that we have developed here at Amy Howard at Home. So I'm kind of jazzed about today because it's a little different than what we normally do. There's so many different finishes that you can create with our line of products, but this goes into the artistic element, which makes it a lot of fun, and it really raises the level of bragging rights that you can have almost instantly. And you don't have to have an artistic ability to be able to do this. So there's a couple of things I want to show you first. Just to remind you, this is Central Standard Time. We're coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee on Friday afternoon. It's 12 noon. So if you're catching us live, please ask me questions. I have two incredible young women on our team that are going to ask me questions, because here's what's great about the whole Facebook or Instagram Live. We can learn from one another. So there's no dumb questions. If you have a question, by me answering it, somebody else gets to learn, and they may be sitting at home going, oh my gosh, I was wondering the same thing. So please ask me questions. And the other thing is, I'd love for you to just send me some love and some hearts and let me know where you're from, where you're coming from, what state. Lets me be able to know a lot of information on how I can support you all over the country, or the world for that matter. So thank you again for tuning in. So today we're going to be going over these products, and I'm going to tell you about it later. I will tell you, we're going to put a bundle together. One, it's a really good savings, as well as it makes it simple because it's going to have it all together so you can turn around and do this project at home. So we're going to be working with our Copycat, our Clean Slate. Of course, it's just a great product to be able to have in your DIY pantry. We've got this little miniature that allows you to be able to start using it if you haven't before. And also in the bundle is we're going to have the light and dark wax, along with an Amy Howard at Home chip brush that you can work with. And we're going to include 3 images here that we're going to be working with today that you can start on a project. So now let me, that's the bundle that we're going to have available. And if you're not familiar with the links that we provide here, because we are going to be giving away product. We have a winner every week that we give away product that deals with the bundles or things that I'm teaching you. And if you're like, well, how do I win this free stuff? I didn't know about this. Go to the link below and you can register, and then that way you'll be part of our club, and we will announce the winner. And we have a winner. I was just given her name, and these are done through an automated electronic process. So the winner of this Copycat bundle is Stacy Perry for this week. So congratulations, Stacy. We're going to be sending this out to you. So see, it pays. Sorry, my phone's ringing. So, so let me go over. I want to show you a couple of pieces that I have used this process on that I'm going to show you today, and I want you to see how transformative it can be. So come over here, and this is just a simple 2x4 frame that Jean built for me with a piece of plywood in the back. But I want you to see the whole pattern of this, and if you don't have my book, Rescue, Restore, Redecorate, it's completely put together. I may show you a picture in just a minute of this headboard and how great it is. Because I just took regular planked boards like this and tacked them from with screws on the front and on the back onto this 2x4 framework that we created. It literally cost just a few dollars to be able to make this. But I transferred the image of this pattern of these flowers, which is very kind of shabby chic, very vintage. I love mixing it in a room with a lot of different colors and painted furniture. But you'll see I did the Copycat technique that I'm getting ready to show you, and I used cerusing wax on top of it. So I'll show you how you can do that as well. So it makes it look set back. It looks like it's been around for a long time. Kind of has a vintage wallpaper feel to it. Love it. So here's something else I want you to see. Look at this board. Same thing again. I just took some plank boards like this, And I love, you guys know that I love to be a curbside shopper. I love finding old stuff on the side of the road. I love getting old frames. This is a frame that I didn't do anything to. I found it like this, and it did have the backing on it. And I just glued down these boards that I did randomly with a little bit of Better with Age plaster, which we've gone over in the last few weeks. And look at this. Look at this pattern in here of this gingham, these acanthus leaves, and these flowers, guys. These were all done with Copycat. So if you go back, if you're just tuning in today and you're like, I like those other finishes on there, this is what I've been showing you the last couple of weeks with Better with Age on raw wood and the plaster. And then today I'm going to show you how to do this Copycat. Are you excited? Are there any questions? Are we good? Just love? Okay, I love. That's good. All right, so come on over here and I'm going to show you how to do this. So the first thing you're going to do, this isn't about having a lot of expensive tools to be able to work with. Of course, the quality of the products and what you're going to need are important, but you can work with just regular copy paper. This is needing to come from a color inkjet printer. That's going to be really important. What I'm working with today is just regular copy paper, the weight of it. So one thing I do tell people, sometimes it's nice to get a poundage, maybe a little heavier. You could even go maybe twice as thick as this, and it will hold up a little bit better. But if you don't have that, don't worry. You can just use regular copy paper. And we printed these off. Now, in this bundle, we're going to send you 3 of these different patterns to be able to get started on and to be able to see how simple and easy it is to be able to use. All right, so one of the first things we're going to need to do is whatever piece that you're working on, whether it's raw wood, whether maybe it's a piece of furniture that you've painted and you want to do an adorable pattern on the sides of the drawers. This is such a cute idea. So if you love painting the piece and you want to have maybe the insides of the drawer done, or you want to do the sides as like a little surprise, those little details can really raise the level up of what you can ask for your furniture. So a lot of you that are watching, this is part of your business. You rescue and restore furniture and you turn around and sell it. There's nothing more fun than getting something. It's about seeing how cheap we can get it, and then how we can do several different techniques to it, but still keep it very classic and elegant. And then little surprises like this can seal the deal. I mean, it's like depending on how much you're asking for it. So, all right, so what I want you to do is you're going to start with a piece that you've already painted. Now, this is a board here that was just raw. You can start with existing furniture though, but you do need to paint it first. So we used Ballet White in our one-step paint, so you see what a pretty white that is. And I'm just going to come back just a little bit. Just only reason I would sand it is because it's kind of rough, because I was working with raw wood. It's not necessary to sand it. If it's on an existing piece that you're painting, there's no need to sand it. But this I'm just sanding because it's just a little rough. This is actually 60 grit. That's why it's making so much noise. I'm going to dust it off. So now, your piece, whether you're working on the sides of the drawers, whether you're making a headboard like this, maybe whether you're making a picture frame that's going to have these images inside, it really is good to go on and just have a base coat on it. And I like working with the one-step paint because it doesn't have the acrylic paints in it that a lot of chalky-based finishes paints do. So it gives you a really beautiful matte finish to start with. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I just need to pick my pattern. So I'm going to be working with this adorable vintage looking flower, and I'm just going to cut it down to size. Are we good on questions? We're good. Okay, guys. You can continue to ask questions, and I and my team will answer them online for you later. Our main desire in doing this is to teach you processes that you can have success on. And if you are not part of our before and after group, please join. It's on Facebook, and we've got about 2,000 close friends that we get with, and we show our before and after projects. It is so fun. That's where some of the before and afters come from, is from people taking pieces, whether they're rescuing and restoring them for themselves, they went shopping in their attic, or Maybe it was a piece that they actually purchased with the whole idea of turning around and flipping it and making some money. So there's nothing more fun. All right, yes?
Where do you find images from?
You can find images anywhere online. There's a great place called Graphic Fairy. I'm telling you secrets. There you can. My team's like, no, don't tell it. You can get graphics. You can Google vintage graphics, whether it's with words, just pictures like this that you can go and just print off on your inkjet printer. And it's a sickness. This is a whole other. I am bringing you into a whole new world that we'll all start twitching together, because it's like we can do so many fun things. You can do this on a multitude of surfaces. You can use this on clay pots. You can use this on the woods, like the headboard that I showed you with the bed. You can do this on picture frames. It will pretty much go on any surface. You can do it on canvas and art. But you want to make sure that it's somewhat protected. I don't want you putting it outdoors. We can seal it, but I think this is something better that's going to be used primarily under a covered porch area or something on a piece of furniture, if that makes sense. All right.
Is there a place where you show how to make the headboard?
I don't have that. That's a good word. It was fairly simple. It really was just 2x4s, and we cut out that shape. We just did it with a jigsaw. Yes?
Is paper out of a scrapbook paper book okay to use, or is that too thick?
That may be too thick. So I would probably prefer you just use regular copy paper. Again, you want to work with an inkjet printer. All right, so I'm just going to cut this down. You could measure this off if you want to. So I'm just going to cut this to the size of a piece I'm working with. And a lot of times, if you wanted to, you could go to Kinko's and have them print this off for you in long sheets, whether it was like legal page. But this is giving you the gist. Whatever length that you're going to be working on or the size, you can do multiple sheets. So let's go over here real quick again. Let me just show you with this headboard what I was doing. So here was the plank of the wood that I was working on, and you see about how, of course, we laid all this up, and then we just took the jigsaw and cut it out. But see how the length of them, depending on, see that little line right there? You don't really see it a whole lot, but that was the next piece of board that we put there, and also it was the pieces of paper. So how I would lay them down, I was using like an 11x14 sheet, and then you just lay them down. So when you get finished with it, especially if you're doing a headboard, your pillows are going to be about right here. You're not going to see it that much. And it makes it look that much more vintage. But that's why I normally will wax it, or I'll do different techniques on top of it afterwards. All right, so
could you use wrapping paper or wallpaper?
The answer is no. You don't know. You'd have to play with it. If I tell you, you can, and then you're like, it didn't come off. Then I haven't played with it. I do know that the Inkjet ink is what works with this image transferring. So let's stick with that. You can even Google and download vintage paper. And that way you can just print it off on the copy paper. All right, so make sure, and this is something that comes in your bundle, this is literally free. When you get this bundle this week, it's a discount on the product as well as this is free. And we want you cleaning your furniture before you paint it. Of course, you can use ballet white. If you want to, you can even paint your piece of furniture a blue color or a taupe color, whatever. When you wear that through, that color may show through just a little bit. So you can get creative if you want to. All right. So I want you to take your Copycat, I want you to shake it up just a little bit, and I'm going to pour just a little bit in here. A little bit goes a long, long way. This container, you'll very easily be able to do 4 or 5 pieces of furniture, okay? All right, so I'm going to take my chip brush, and I'm going to load up the Copycat in it. You see about how thick it is. Now, pay close attention while I'm telling you this. There's some real important things here that I want everybody to remember. You have got to paint the front and the front of the paper as well as the surface that you're putting it on, because we're going to marry them. Now, you're not applying this to the back. I want you to apply it to the front, where the color is, where the image is that you want to transfer onto this. Is everybody with me? All right, so now I want you to come and just be very generous. Look how I turned my brush. Did you see that? I want to make sure that I have ample light. You want to hold on to it just a little bit because you're pulling it. Load it up, paint into a wet edge. If you don't get it everywhere, it's not going to transfer it. Now you're working fairly quickly. I want you to come back here, and then I want you to marry these together. But look how I am keeping a wet edge, and I'm applying the Copycat all over my surface. All right, so I've put it on my paper, my inkjet printer paper, and I've put it on my surface. Now I'm going to lay them here like this, and I'm going to press it all in together. Now, this is real important because I want to make sure, if you want to have a little spreader, that's okay. A lot of times I just do it with my hand. So that way I make sure that it's beautifully married together. So you're seeing the white part, you're seeing the back of what you're actually printed off. That's real important. Sometimes people are putting the Copycat on the back of this because they're thinking that they're trying to reverse it, but you're actually going to be doing it on the front. All right, are there any questions?
So you would need to print any words backwards.
Yes, so good. Who said that?
Melinda Ponder.
Hey, Melinda. Yes. If you want words, that's what you need to do. They're going to be printed in reverse. Hadn't gotten there yet. You were just being a smart girl and asking that
What
question.
about photos? Would those need to be backwards?
You can do photos backwards too. Yes. Good job. I got smart students. I love this. Okay, Instagram over here. I need questions. I need you to know you're watching. It's your lunch break. You can ask questions because I want to make sure you're successful. Okay, so I've put these together. Now, here's the other thing. Tell your friends, when you share this video, this is one thing that's the caveat, because many people will forget this and their project can be a failure, and they'll go, she didn't tell us that. Yes, I did. I did tell you that. This has got to dry a minimum of 2 hours. Once you apply it on the front of your paper and the base and you marry them, put it on both surfaces, this has got to dry a minimum of 2 hours. If you don't let it dry a minimum of 2 hours, you are not going to have success on your project. So, can you leave it overnight? Absolutely. Can you leave it on for 3.5 hours? Can you leave it on 4 hours and 20 minutes? Yes. As long as it's dry, you're good. So I just want to make sure that you don't touch it again for a minimum of 2 hours. Is everybody with me? Okay. All right, so now, because we prepare before we do these Facebook Lives, we have one already done for you. So this is already dried for 2 hours. Now, I have some water that I'm going to bring over here, and I have a lint-free rag. Now, I'm just going to tell you, as a rule, I like working with warm water when I do this. Not scalding hot, just warm water. So I think there's a little bit of a shadow here, and I apologize. All right, so I've got some warm water, and I have a lint-free rag. So I'm just going to dip my lint-free rag into this water, and I'm going to work on it a section at a time. So let's say you're working on a drawer, the side of a drawer. I want you to saturate, before you start rubbing, I want you to saturate the picture like this everywhere and let it sit here for maybe 30, 45 minutes. Okay, so just let it sit there for just a second. So after, I'm going to take this one because actually I started this before we were coming on here live, so I'm going to put just a little bit on here too. Can you see the difference? See when it's wet? When you start to work on it, and all you're going to see is this white. But when you go first to do a saturation of the paper, you're going to start to see that image start to poke through, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm so scared. Am I going to mess this up? You're not going to mess it up. So I'm just going to set that aside. I was able to show you kind of the whole thing, what it looked like. And I'm going to finish this one. Now watch. After it's sitting there for just a second, now I'm going to dip this same lint-free rag down in some water, and I'm going to do a little bit of pressure. Here's the other key, big key. Do it in a circular motion, guys. Don't scrape it back and forth or up and down. In a circular motion, I want you to be very methodical. Make sure that your rag is kept wet. Can you see this? If I hold that up in the light, can you see that just a little bit more? What's happening? A couple of things. You're starting to see the image come through. Don't start freaking out when you start to see this paper coming up. Guess what that is? That's the back of the paper. It's coming up, and what's happening? It's leaving the image behind. Is that so fun? Are there any questions? Are we good?
So it has to be an inkjet printer.
It has to be an inkjet printer.
And where's the best place to have it printed backwards?
You can print it yourself backwards. You can just go and tell it to print in reverse. If you want to, you know, there's still Kinko's around. Kinko's can do that for you. Yes, Instagram.
Can this replace wallpaper inside a china cabinet?
Yes, it could. I want to see before and after pictures. Who asked that question? No name.
It just
no
says
name.
Be Pinky.
I want you to join the before and after group on Facebook, because that way we can all celebrate each other's projects and what they did, and we learn from one another. It makes it so fun.
So Sharon asked, do you leave it saturated with water for 30 to 45 minutes
No.
or 30 to 45 seconds?
Seconds, Sharon. Is that Sharon Rex? Who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Rexrod? Yes, Sharon. Hey. Yes. It's just 30 or 45 seconds. Just allow it to be able to saturate. So let's get a close-up of this. Can everybody see? Look how my pebbles are coming off of my paper. It's leaving that yummy, yummy, adorable design. Look how I'm constantly keeping sure my rag is wet. And I'm going in a circular motion, just trying to get that excess paper off. All right. So I'm just going to kind of wipe it off like that. Look at that. Now, so don't forget, what was the first thing we did? If you're just now tuning in, we had it to where before we got started, we actually had a piece of painted wood. So we painted our wood first, look, because that's what's showing through. So let's say you're doing that china cabinet. And no name, is it, what's their name?
Be Pinky.
Be Pinky. So Be Pinky, you want to make sure that you paint the back of that china cabinet first with the one-step paint.
Her name is Beverly.
Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. So Beverly, you want to make sure that you paint the back of that china cabinet first, because see, when we take that paper off, we're going to be seeing that through there. It's only going to transfer the ink. It's not going to transfer the background of the paper. So you want to make sure that you paint the back of your china cabinet with the one-step paint. And if you get this bundle, you get a free clean slate in your bundle this time. All right, yes.
So Jamie asked, can she apply this over a pot she did in cracked patina finish?
Okay, let me think here. Okay, this is a really good question. So here's the deal. With cracked patina, we need to seal it. Remember, I've talked to y'all about with the cracked patina, and so there are people watching, they're going, what is she talking about, cracked patina? I'm getting confused. Cracked patina is a totally other finish. It's the Oreo cookie. It's sandwiching it in between the one-step paint. That has to be sealed. So you've already sealed it. If you've already sealed something, and even you've probably got wax on top of it, you would have to take all that off before you do this. I would start with the new clay pot, which I have one right here. So let's just say you've got, here's your reverse lettering, and you want to be able to put the wording on there. You can just cut this out like this. I'll cut these borders off. If I wanted to add the borders, I actually could.
Where can people order Copycat in the bundle?
They can order Copycat and the bundle on amyhowardhome.com. So www.amyhowardhome.com. All right, so if you're just now tuning in, I'm going over Copycat, how to transfer imagery. I mean, if I was going to work on a pot, I've got to do it in reverse like this. So you can very easily just print things in reverse on your printer, or if you're not familiar with that, you can go in and take it to Kinko's. And actually, I could cut this out and put this on the other side if I wanted to. I'm not going to go through the whole process with you, but I just wanted to kind of show you what you can do. So, remember we talked about earlier, if you're just now tuning in, you've got to be able to put it on both the surface that you're working on and your paper. So you're going to be working with an inkjet printer, and I'm going to apply very generously the Copycat to the front of the paper the image that I actually want to transfer, and I'm going to have to also put it on the surface that I'm going to be marrying it with. Is everybody with me? This is going to dry down clear, but you're going to have to make sure that it's saturated. I prefer you really work in one direction. So then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to lay this down just like this. Make sure that it's all smooth.
Can you do this process on fabric?
I don't really like it on fabric. It's not going to work as well. No, so the answer is no. But you can do it on wood, you can do it on furniture, you can do it on pretty much any surface that I can put the one-step paint on and act as my primer, and then put this on top of it. So what's the key? Y'all just watched me do this. This has to dry for 2 hours before I touch it. And then that way I'm going to come back. I may even add maybe this little rose and this on the other side. Remember, I'm going to have to put the Copycat on it and then turn it over this way. And then that way, after 2 hours, I can rub it off, the excess, and that's going to give me a beautiful image that I've transferred like this. Okay? All right, so now I want to show you, here's the same design that we are going to include in this bundle for you that you can do, that I put on a board. This is actually pretty. This can be a piece of art that you could frame, that you could put into a cute little frame that you get at Habitat or Rescue Restore. All right, so I'm going to clean this off, and I want to just be able to show you. I usually don't like leaving anything that I've done, the Copycat or image transfer, on raw like this. I like to finish it out. I think it makes it look more authentic. I think it makes it look like it's more vintage. So I'm going to take my light wax.
Question, Beverly.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you apply antiquing wax afterwards?
That's right. Gosh, I'm telling you, I have the smartest viewers. Yes, you can apply light antiquing wax afterwards, Beverly. And that's what I love to do. And so I'm working with my pucks. And I'm going to close that up. This is the light antique wax. I'm going to offload it just a little bit. And I'm going to come over it.
And Kay asked, does this work on glass or mirror?
No. We need to stick with wood, clay, things that we can put the one-step paint on. Now, there are some other processes that I'll teach you. You know how to do agglomase and different things on mirror. See how I'm cross-hatching it? I want to make sure that it's kind of fluid. I'm feeling of it. I'm going to add just a little bit more white wax. Now, this isn't necessary, but I like doing it just strictly because it finishes it out really pretty. I think it makes it look more authentic. Now, here's the other thing I want you to remember. A lot of people ask me, when I use my waxes, what do I clean them out with? You can clean them out with a clean slate. So you'd want to clean this light antique wax out with your clean slate, let it dry, let your brush dry really good, and then that way you can come back with your dark wax. The other thing is, I want to make sure that your light wax is dry before you add the dark wax. If you don't make sure this wax is dry first, what happens? You're going to get a third color. Because if this is still wet and I come back to apply this dark, it's just going to get mushy and it's going to kind of melt together and you're not going to like it. The whole point of the dark wax, guys, is to just add a little bit of age. People can ruin a project instantly with this dark wax. They can enhance it, or they can really take away from the authenticity of what it is that you're wanting to do. All right, so I've got a clean brush. It's nice and dry, and I'm loading it up with the dark wax. Yes, Instagram.
Will this work on metal or tin?
Yes, it'll work with tin. Remember, though, whether it's metal or whether it's tin, I want you to make sure that the first thing you do is you need to paint it. Because I want you to have a really nice surface with the one-step paint that's prepared it. So that way when you wear back through, too, you've got that paint underneath. Does that make sense? All right, so with the dark wax, always offload it onto some cardboard. So we usually just take some boxes that we have, we repurpose them, and look how much I'm taking off. I know y'all get so tired of me, especially if you watch me on YouTube any. It's like, gosh, does she always do that? Yes, I always do this. It's because I don't want to ruin my project. And look at that. I want to get to where it's all the way around, it's evenly on my brush, but at the same time, I don't have excess. If I go directly from this dark wax and I go over here on my project, and I don't know why, human nature, a lot of people go to the very center, I can ruin it. So what's the whole reason why we're using the dark wax? It's because we want it to feel aged. Where does something get dirty as a rule? It's going to get dirty around the outside first. If this is a drawer, now here's the exciting thing. Look at me for just a second. Here's the exciting thing. Let's say you just love this. Maybe you blow an image up, you take it to Kinko's, you have a 3-drawer chest. You can have this image blown up, measure the drawers, they will print it out for you, and you can do the copycat on the drawers. Oh, wouldn't that be fab? So I want you to paint the whole thing like in Ballet White or Bauhaus Buff or a pale blue or a pale gray, and then you can put these images on top of them just like I've shown you here today, and then come back and wax them, and it's going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm expecting to see some really good before and afters after this. Yes.
How long do you let the wax dry before applying the next wax?
I usually, depending on what the temperature is outside, if it's a little hotter, maybe it takes a little bit longer. If it's colder, it's going to dry a little bit faster. When I touch it, but here's the deal, I don't want it to drag. I don't want it to feel greasy. If it's greasy, don't touch it. You can let it dry overnight if you want to and come back and add the dark wax the next day. All right, so where are we going to use the dark wax? It's around the edges first, especially if this was a drawer. So I want you to start on the edges. I'm going to hold this up. Now, other thing is, we talk about butterfly kisses. Just barely touch the top of it. Don't go to the center. I want you to start on the edge. So here we go. So look, I'm going to be turning and going back and forth. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that. Can you see that? Even my camera people are getting excited. All right. So let's look at the side. Look at this side and look at this side. Does that show up on camera? Can I hold that in the light? So I'm not wanting you to overdo it. This is just, you see how very little I've got on here. Because look, here's the first side. Look how much I offloaded. Even I did it twice. I always offload twice. So that way I just come back. I'm just going to kind of do half of it. That way you can kind of see. This is an option, but it can really make a big difference on the pieces that you're doing. Now look at that. So here's before the dark wax, and after the dark wax, and here's before. Yes.
We've still got people wondering what they can use this on. Canvas, fabric.
Yes. Are we loving this? Let me turn. I know it's like so pretty. Yes. So you can do a whole piece of furniture like this. You can do a top of a cocktail table like this. You can do the drawers on a piece. I can just do the side drawers. So let me see. Do I have my little console? So let's say maybe you want to just paint the whole piece, and just when you pull the drawers out to the side, the panels, this could just be showing on the sides. It's up in your game, man. It's like when you're selling furniture and they open the drawers and they see that. It's like a little surprise, and it took no time, and it really elevated your furniture. All right, so let me show you what else you can use this on. This is a black and white picture. This was something that my daughter, that's my oldest daughter, Brooke, and that's our youngest son, Preston, and this is my dad. My dad, we were going to be celebrating his 100th birthday, August 14th. Yes, it's going to be an incredible party at my house. Like, how many people do you know that get to plan 100-year-old birthday parties? But we just took a little piece of canvas, and we printed this in reverse. Remember, we talked about it. This is how you print in reverse. I literally took the picture of the kids like this, put the copycat on the front and then on the canvas, and married them. Let it dry for 2 hours, and then rubbed it away, and that image was there. Isn't that fun? So a lot of photographers are going to be mad at me because they're going to go, "You're taking money away from me." This was just a regular, inexpensive little piece of canvas board that we got from a craft store, and we transferred an image with words on it. The same thing. I married it. I printed it in reverse like this, and then I let it dry 2 hours, and then rubbed it away. I was coming back and adding some leaf on this. And then I want to come back and do the same thing that I did on this one and do some light wax and some dark wax. So if you're just tuning in, be sure and do #replay. But I've taken you through the whole process of how to be able to use the Copycat, the Clean Slate, the light and dark wax, and our brushes to be able to do image transferring like this on your furniture that's quick and easy. Yes?
What is used on top of the transfer? Glue or paint?
On top of the transfer, it's the Copycat. So if you're just tuning in, go back and watch it from the very beginning. I'll show you how you just use regular inkjet printed paper in any pattern, design, words, or whatever, or photographs that you want, and you're going to be applying it to the actual image and your surface, and you're going to transfer it. But go back through and watch the video. Yes?
Sally said, plan a high-energy disco dance for your dad. What a wonderful age.
Thank you. That is so sweet. I think he'll be sitting there watching all of this. But I love that idea. It's such a blessing. He has left an incredible legacy, but thank you. It's going to be very, very sweet. And to add it to the excitement, since you were so sweet to make a comment, my mom's birthday is on August 15th, and she'll be 96. Their 75th wedding anniversary is June 8th, and we have a big party for that too. So I am so blessed. Yes?
We have a lot of people asking about the bundle.
Okay.
Where can they get it? What's in it?
All right, so we're going to be sending out, if you're on our email list, we'll be sending out information, and it'll be on the Facebook page too, as far as the bundle. So we have a special pricing. When we do these Finish Fridays, we like to bundle several products together that we know that you can use, not only to do this project, but also to be able to have some extra savings. And it's going to include a large bottle of Copycat. It's going to include your Clean Slate to be able to clean your furniture. It's going to include your light and dark wax, just like what I did on here. And it also is going to include this exact image and two others that I showed you to be able to get started right away to be able to create a piece of art. And it's going to come with your chip brush. So that way you'll get that, and you can go in and get started and just transferring. I'm just going to tell you, you can very easily do 5 or 6 pieces of furniture with this, no problem. Now, if you want to do a headboard, it's probably going to use about 2/3 of this bottle to do your headboard, like I did over here. So you just want to be able to start small, experiment, do some things on some canvas. I guess the main thing is making sure that you use an inkjet printer. You want to make sure that you put the Copycat on the actual front of the image that you're transferring, and as well as the base, and allow it to dry 2 hours. A lot of people don't allow it to dry long enough, and they don't get it everywhere. So make sure it's saturated, marry the two together, spread it, and make sure it's real smooth, and then allow it at least 2 hours to dry. So go back, if you're missing the beginning of this, I go all over all the Copycat. This is a fun, easy project that is going to take your painted furniture projects to the next level, I promise. Have a great, great weekend, guys. See you at estate sales.